visiting lives in London, like Canadian London. So we were talking about like, oh, driving from London to Windsor or like London to Toronto, and like, oh, like this place is bad for like. Already.
Sugar. What am I in the way?
No, I just.
I'm thinking Stephen.
I'm gonna focus on the T. Okay.
Yes, and he stayed off with that. He stayed next day or 2 weeks. Felix. Did he get on with it? They get on really well. That's a job.
Lavender.
Fresh.
Smell of lavender.
Yeah, fresh lavender. It's so blue.
I want lavenders in the garden. Are they dried flowers? Or dried?
Ini nggak usah kelihatan ya. Itu di sini ya. I was speaking, he was like, could you please check? And he's like, yeah.
I want to put this in my bag, but I'm afraid of getting sauce on it.
Well, I'm sure you don't want to almost too hot. No.
On a hard cookie, I wanted something like this. Because it was cinnamon, it's not cinnamon, gingerbread, a bit surprising.
There are two more which claims to the first ones. Another one is Merton College. They say that we were started in 1264. Liz Truss was a student from there.
Oh, Jesus, courage.
Later on, if you are here, they all are free entry, so you can do that by yourself also. We'll be visiting New Bodleian in a minute. After some and lead a little fast, Harry Potter fans. I'll take you to the chalk bit now. And School of Divinity looks very beautiful from that side. You can take the This was a tiny passage from where he got inspired. Earth was found in New Zealand and different parts of the world, not just to see the University of Oxford, but they want to know from where all these famous people they have come from.
Is it brewed? Nice.
It's like, that's very good. I find it doesn't work. But it always felt like more than egg and mayonnaise. Like maybe they put something else in it.
It has like a curry powder or something. It has curry flavor.
That helped a lot.
Oh, is it?
My head's cold.
Hey, definitely take two.
And blackberry.
Wow.
Yes, alright.
How can I help you while we're all hugging each other?
May I have one pasta please?
Yeah, sure. Would you like a lighter one or a darker one?
A lighter, please.
Lighter one. Fine, right. There you go.
No! Not again. Jo, egy csomag ebben.
Egy csomag ebben.
Van ente.
Wow.
Look at how hot it is.
Yeah. Looks nice. Shall we go?
And I guess it's quite normal for museums to end up in a cafe, right?
Not mine.
This way.
Bit surprised.
His name is like
Stop.
yeah, you can see ice on the part right here.
Nor indeed the boxing jacket.
Station is St Albans City.
More sugar. Go.
And it's Demarge too. There, that's enough for now.
2 is enough?
2's enough for now.
For now.
If I use the rest when it's quite strong, I'll put more sugar in later.
Of course.
I want to put this in my bag, but I'm afraid of getting sauce on it. I hope it has more than cocktails and mocktails.
Yay. Tea and cake and
I can't remember what it was called, but I
make
saw
your
it.
own kind of thing.
Yeah, it makes it to order. So I went back in the morning, but the pasta that they make is kind of like fancy pasta, and I was like, that's a bit too fancy for me. So I went back to the place that I had seen. There was like pasta. Ooh.